Joining me now here on Locked On College Football, former president of Fox Sports, Bob Thompson. Bob, great to have you here on the show. Let's hop right into it. So there's this new announcement that could change the way that fans view and consume college football. As soon as next year is kind of how it seems. Warner Brothers, Fox, and ESPN announced a mutual deal to put together their own streaming service that will have a variety of sports on it, major sports on it. What do you make of this announcement?
Well, I think it's a kind of a next step in the evolution of streaming product. You've seen the standalone streaming products such as ESPN Plus. Now what you have is basically a bundle, a skinny bundle, in that you're going to have the Fox services. So Fox, FS1, FS2, Big Ten Network, all the ESPN services. So from ESPN2 through News, and I assume SEC, ACC networks as well. And when with Warner Brothers Discovery, certainly the content or the channels, the linear networks, TNT and TBS, all bundled into a single offering. That's got to be, if they were talking $25-$30 for ESPN, the linear feed as a standalone direct-to-consumer product, this is going to have to be north of that. But I think for sports fans who want to maybe escape the bundle of cable TV or satellite, whatever, this is finally a very robust sports option that'll be available to you on the direct consumer streaming market.
So one issue that I've found just as a consumer of college football, watching all of these events in the streaming world, is you can't always watch everything you want to because it's on this network or that channel, or you have to hop over here. And it's not easy to flip channels like it was when I was a kid, which was you just press guide, you scroll down, and you go to the next channel unless you have something like YouTube TV. If you're streaming heavy, that element is complicated. How do you think this impacts the viewing product that people are able to enjoy as it pertains to college football, but other sports as well? Do you think this makes it easier to consolidate these entities into one place?
I would think so. What you're describing is a common problems for those of us who grew up channel surfing and just hitting buttons after buttons. This whole idea of leaving one app, going to another app, finding the right tile within that app and getting there, it's clunky, as I call it. It's not a very elegant solution. I think with all of these being within the same platform or the same app, it should be a lot easier to navigate. I could see similar to what you see on ESPN Plus, but with a section for Fox, a section for FS1, a section for TNT, section for TBS, or it's just going to be program tiles like you'll see, and like you see on Google, YouTube TV, things like that. It's less guide driven and it's more tile driven, and you just pop around from those here and there. And so you have to use your reverse button and your forward button a little more quickly. But I think it's a good solution for those of us who grew up surfing the linear networks.
We don't have all the details of it quite yet, but based on what we expect it to be and what we do know about this massive streaming entity right now, it does kind of feel, and you alluded to this, like it used to be on linear television, where you just scroll or you go from one channel to the next. Is that the intent here, to kind of go back towards a model like that? Like, why would ESPN, which is invested in the SEC, Fox, which is invested in the Big Ten, and then Warner Brothers as well, why would those entities come together and say, we want to put sports all in one place?
Well, I think they've realized that they have to have a product for the streaming market, and a product that is easy to understand. And certainly the sports fans are going to be able to get the fact that this is sports, and you're going to get all the sports on all these channels in one spot, and you're going to pay one fee. It's not the a la carte menu approach. You're buying the combo platter, and you're going to get, multiple networks, sports all in one spot. You're going to pay for it, obviously, But for those who want to potentially, get out of the linear TV bundles of a cable operator or a satellite operator, this is your sports solution. Granted, you're probably going to have Peacock and Paramount Plus to cover everything, but if you're not interested in a bundle, through the typical linear distributors, this is a good situation. It's interesting that there is a similar product in Australia, and it's Fox and it's ESPN, and I think somebody else is in there, maybe 10 Network or somebody like that. It's called KO Sports, KAYO, and they do the exact same thing. All their sports offered through this singular streaming service, and I assume this is somewhat modeled upon that.
It almost sounds like a semi-return to the linear television model that a lot of people are accustomed to, but kind of siphoning off the overcharges or payments that you inherently had with a cable bundle, because you pay for, if you primarily watch, as I did as a kid, ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC, the major networks and where the sports are, you're also paying in the cable subscription, or at least it was my parents paying, of course, when I was a kid. But when you're paying for TLC, you're paying for FX, you're paying for Food Network, the Discovery Channel, the History Channel, everything. Is this almost a way to make that sports delivery process more efficient than cable television used to be?
Well, I could flip that around and say that the folks watching TLC and those channels were probably subsidizing you more than you were subsidizing them, given the cost of sports and the cost of the sports channels relative to those other channels you mentioned. But in a way, yes, you're right, because as the prices have ballooned and you're paying $90, $100, $110 just for your offerings, if you could strip it out and say pay $30, $40 for all the sports you need or want, or maybe you got to add Peacock for $6, and maybe you got to add Paramount Plus for another $5, but you've got everything. You've skinnied your bundle significantly, and you've also skinnied your price significantly, which is what everybody's trying to capture, is make sure that viewers still have the ability and don't just go away from the product entirely, which is certainly the legacy media companies' concerns, that sooner or later the bundle on cable and satellite is going to die, and they're going to be sitting here going, okay, what do we do now? This gets them to that next era, and also gets them to those people who, unlike you and me, have never had cable before. They just never were caught up in that bundle. They've just been, streamers their whole existence, or, YouTube surfers.
Right. And that's a bizarre concept to me, but there are a lot of people probably listening to or watching the show that have never had cable TV before and know how that sort of thing works, because it's just the streaming world here. But last thing I want to ask you about is this move is what came out of left field. I don't think anybody was anticipating this. At least that's what the reactions were from guys like Andrew Marchand over at The Athletic, who reported this, and there were a number of other people as well who felt surprised by the move. Do you think it's the last move, and do you think anybody else will get involved in this space? Do you think, with this package, could Amazon or Apple try to get some games in there as a part of the package to put on, to introduce or promote their content, or anything like that? Do you think there are going to be other moves like it that transpire as a result?
Well, I've been saying for a while that there's going to be some consolidation in the streaming world. The individuals couldn't continue on losing as much money as they are. I think one of the other reasons, though, that this move was made was to combat the potential of what Apple and what Amazon Prime Video are doing, and kind of set up a barrier between the legacy media companies now getting into streaming and what the big tech companies are doing. So I don't know that it's the last deal or the last shoe to fall in this with this structure or this entity. It's possible that others come in. I'd be surprised if it was any of the big tech guys at this point, but I still think there's going to be some more consolidation in the space going forward. It's got to.
Yeah, that's certainly the way it feels, because most streamers struggle to make money or be a productive entity for a company, no matter what it is. And I think that you're on the right track there. But we brought him on for a reason. Bob Thompson, former president of Fox Sports. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate the time.
My pleasure. Thanks, Spencer.
Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.